What is going on, civilian Jeeps? It's Jake here, and today we're going to go over all the features and everything I know about the Jeep Willys I purchased. Well, I'm in the garage here. It's kind of a nasty day outside, so I don't believe I'm going to shoot this outside. I'm going to try to wrap it up in the garage. As you can see, I've got my CJ7 in the garage now. I finally got it cleared out enough to put it in there, and I'm super excited because I love having the CJ2A and the CJ7 under one roof. It's like a dream come true. I'm like a kid in a candy shop every time I open my garage door. So today, the CJ2A, I'm going to show you everything that I found out about it. I did speak with the original owner, the guy that built and restored this Jeep back in the early 2000s. And he called me the other day, and I found out some more about this Jeep. And I want to give a proper walk around what's been done to it, what is not factory, but it's optional equipment that has been added. I'm going to tell you just the little things that just really make this Jeep what it is and what makes it tick. I'm not going to do what's wrong with this Jeep, although you might see some of it in this video. I'm going to make a whole other video by itself that's going to go over what is wrong with this Willys. And some of it can be quite in-depth, so more videos are going to stem off of just, what's wrong with this thing. I've got to fix some things, and I knew buying a 75-year-old Jeep, though, I would have to fix some things. So I'm not super bummed out about it. It's just, it is what it is. I got it at a good deal. But enough about that. Let's dig right into it. Let's see what makes this thing go down the road. Well, making our way over here, we have the L134 Go Devil flathead engine. This engine is super cool because this Jeep right here, this CJ2A, is considered a very early civilian. I call it a VEC. Its serial number is CJ2A 41703, which means it was number 41,703 produced from the factory. Now, in CJ2A specs, there were over 200,000 CJs built, so I consider this one to be very early civilian, but it is missing some of the originality of the Jeep, which we'll get to that here in a minute. But one thing that's really cool about this engine is, from what I've gathered and from what I've spoke with the man who rebuilt some of this engine and restored this Jeep, this engine here doesn't have a serial number on the side. The later models had the serial number right here above the water pump. This one has a plaque right down here where you would think that the serial number would be, but because it's a early model and it's chain driven, the serial number is not there. There's not a serial number on it, which is matching up all my records showing that this is the original engine, because the early model 134s, especially the ones that were left over from the war, which I believe this one is, granted on what I've seen, they do not have serial numbers on them, and they're very desirable if you're wanting to do a MB style Jeep build, because this is an early model 134, and the chain driven engine is pretty cool. They switched to a gear driven engine around serial number 44,000. So highly believe this is original engine. This is the Carter single barrel carburetor going to the air intake. It's the oil bath air intake. The steering box is the Ross steering box. It's kind of hard to see at the moment, but it's down there. You probably see some leaks on it, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. That'll be for another time. But you can barely see it, but right down there is a tight steer mechanism, and that tight steer mechanism shoves the spring that's in the tight steer up against the sector shaft, and that goes on the worm gear, which tightens up the steering. So, in theory, that is really supposed to help your steering and supposed to take out some of the slop. Now, also in the engine bay is the wiring, which I kind of mentioned it in my previous video. I'll put a link to it as well about the first accessory I buy for this Jeep, or any Jeep really. And the wiring is alright. The wiring has been redone. It was redone in 2000. But, I mean, if I plan on putting it back to like a museum show quality, which I'm kind of batting back and forth if I want to do that or not, then I would probably replace the wiring. So this battery right here is a tractor style 8-volt battery. You can see I leave it disconnected when I'm not using this Jeep, but it does have a battery tender that I can plug it up and keep the battery topped off, but I just like to keep it unplugged. So one thing that helps this 8-volt system tick, that sends enough to the battery to top the battery off at 8 volts, because this Jeep was originally 6 volts, is the actual generator right here is programmed to send a little over 8 volts to the battery to keep it topped off. And the generator down there has been tweaked a little bit as well. But it's really beneficial. It comes in handy when trying to start this thing. The lights shine a little bit brighter, and it's a little bit easier to start this Jeep with the 8-volt system. So there's the engine compartment. If you have any questions about this or want to see more of it, please let me know down there in the comments. I did forget to mention this is a Monarch hydraulic pump. It goes back and forth. It's not currently hooked up. You can see the pulley just free spins. The pulley for this is in the toolbox under the seat inside the Jeep. So I have been told it works though. It works this hydraulic right here, and that's what raises and lowers the snowplow. These are the original style wheels, and those are Warren premium hubs. Those Warren hubs, I believe, are out of maybe like the 50s or 60s. I think it's supposed to be like, you know, that's what you could upgrade to if you were in that era. So they're not original, but they are pretty cool. So this high lift bag right here has a high lift under it, obviously, and I'm not taking it off yet, so I don't know the shape of the high lift itself, but it's mounted on the actual tow bar. There's a tow bar that I got with this that if you want to tow it behind your vehicle, but it's just rigged up where this bolt's going through the high lift, and it makes a pretty good place to mount this high lift to the front of the bumper through the existing tow bar connections. And like I mentioned previously, there's the snowplow frame with the hydraulic, and your chain goes right here, comes down, and it'll lift up and down depending on if you're pulling that Monarch pump under the actual engine bay. And these are some auxiliary lights. They're not currently working at the moment. I don't know if they're burnt out or if the wiring's just not hooked up correctly for them. So I'm going to have to investigate that. The snowplow will connect down here. It's an extension of the frame that's been welded, and it's pretty cool. Like, snowplow just goes into there and you put your little pin in and it'll connect right up. It doesn't seem to be a challenging aspect to connect a plow at all. It could be done super simply. And this is the other side. You can see another view of the 1950 style Warren hubs. Now, the actual paint on this Jeep, I originally thought it was the Luzon Red that was like the 47 and up model Jeeps, but actually this is a maroon paint. It's called the DuPont Imron, and I think on video it kind of picks up better than in person. I mean, overall though, it's pretty nice. The guy that restored it said he did paint it himself, so there's a run or two. It's not bad. But it's very, very durable. Like, my hand just slides across there really, really smooth. And, like, it'd be super hard to scratch this paint, which I really like that. And I know a lot of you have probably seen the windshield. The windshield is an M38 style windshield. And I think it even can go along with the Arctic top, because the Arctic top would set up top and then just kind of snap down in right along the frame there. Or it might just be a standard M38. I know that the M38 has the bolted shut window vent right there, like this. However, from what I've seen on the internet, a lot of this style windshield was along with the Arctic top. So, how did they get to use the Arctic top on this 2A? I'm pretty sure it's been welded right here to the 2A arm, and that's just been married together, and it looks pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm kind of bummed it don't have the split windshield originality of the 2A, but if I had to choose another one, this one is cool. It still has the windshield wipers up top, so it's not a total loss by any means. The body is relatively straight. It's got a best top. I think it's a Tiger top and it's about $1,000. It's not in pristine shape by any means. It's honestly, I'll eventually probably get another one. A big reason why is, guy said that it was cold outside and he backed into a branch, and there's this huge gash right here, which I'm going to do another video. I'm going to try to repair it, but I just don't know if I can repair it and make it look well. So I might just get another top. So working our way around, body's pretty straight. It does have right here a few little indentions. Nothing bad. I mean, you can't even really see them on video, but I think it just gives it character. Yeah, you can kind of see little indentions, but this isn't a museum Jeep by any means. Oh, here's the Bantam trailer I got with it. You can see the snow plows in the trailer, and right there's the car cover I got. We have more auxiliary lights. These actually do work, and they're super handy while backing up. This is the Ramsey Model 200 PTO driven winch. You have to engage it right here. You kind of got to spin the drum a little bit for it to lock in, and I have tried it. It does work, and it's pretty dang cool to be able to control this thing with the engine of the Jeep. And there's the tailpipe. It's sticking out a little bit further than I feel like it probably should, but you know, it keeps the carburetor fumes out of the actual cab of the Jeep here, so I'm not completely opposed to it. Now the back is kind of bowed out, waved just a little. Something has hit it right here, and it caused a little indentation. It's no big deal. I'm not too concerned about it, but the actual frame right here is ever so slightly tweaked, just a little bit, which I don't know if I'll end up fixing that or not. Kinda would like to, but it depends on how big of a deal it's going to be. This right here was custom made, this holder. The guy that restored it said he custom made it, and he reinforced the frame to be able to hold all this, because honestly I don't know that a lot of weight on this winch would be a great idea on the stock CJ2A frame, but it has been reinforced, and he said that he used it quite often and everything was perfectly fine with it. So here's Eugene the Jeep, and right below Eugene is a little bit of body rust, a little bit of surface rust, and it's starting to peel right about back in here, maybe up to here. So eventually the tailgate's going to have to be taken off, sanded down, and that's going to have to be addressed. I don't want my tailgate rusting out. So along to the driver's side, it's got the gas cap right here below the door, just like normal. It's got these cool original side steps, which are really neat, and you know, that's about all I have for the body. The body is in pretty good shape. So I'm up under the Jeep, and you can see the underside of the Go Devil engine here, and back behind it is the Borg Warner T90 with the Spicer 18 transfer case, and it also has the Warn overdrive system right here, and it's got a PTO coming off the back. That's what powers the winch, and there's a lot of leaks under here, so that's something I'm gonna have to address. So we're back around front real quick. I did want to show you that this is the original Dana 25 up front. And going back to the rear, you can see that this is the original Dana 41. It does have Rancho 2.5-inch springs on it, so that lifts the Jeep obviously about 2.5 inches. So the tie rods are a little bit at an angle compared to what they usually are, and these tires are Power King tires. They are 7.5 by 16, which is a little bit bigger than the standard tire that would come on here. I think the standard was like 6 by 16. Some people put 7 by 16, but you gotta have at least a 2-inch lift if you don't want to just scrub the ever living daylights out of 7.5 by 16. Working our way inside of the Jeep, this is the original style steering wheel. I don't know if it's original because man, it's in pretty good shape. So we have the lights right here. This is for the windshield, to be able to put it down when you're coming across the dash. You have the speedometer here. This is your fuel gauge. Right below it is your oil pressure. Over here is the amps gauge. This is kind of like volts in the modern car. And then over here you have your water temperature, which is kind of hidden behind the shifter. Now that kind of leads your way into the shifter. This is your BorgWarner T90 shifter, and this is the Warren overdrive. You have transfer case in and out, and this is 2-wheel low, 2-wheel high. Well, the transfer cases had the addition where you can use 2-wheel low, and some of them you have to, or if it's not been modified from the factory, you won't be able to use 2-wheel low. It'll just be 2-wheel and then 4-wheel low, 4-wheel high. So going back to the dash, this is the parking brake. This is where you put your key to start it. This is your dash plaques, which are really cool. Highly recommend reading those. This is auxiliary lights, and this is for the heater. Here are your windshield wipers and your hazards. This little box right here. These are the best top seats that are sitting on the original style frame that sits on the gas tank. That's right, in a CJ2A you sit on the gas tank. And same seat over there. These are the best top doors, just like I mentioned for the Tiger Top setup. And right here are floor mats. These floor mats are in pretty good shape. I mean, it keeps just the crap off of the floor pan of the Jeep. It's not rusted in the floor of this Jeep, however it does need to be cleaned. The back of the Jeep is not rusty whatsoever. The floor pans are in great shape. Unlike the hat channels, the floor pans they're pretty dang good. So let's go around to the other side, check it out. You can kind of see the back of the Jeep here. Underneath the passenger seat is a toolbox. Just lift it up, twist, lift it up. You got storage in there. Down here in the floorboard is also the U.S. Army style bag with some wrenches and just odds and end tools that will go down in the toolbox. On this Jeep, for the passenger, if you want to wipe your window, if you need to see outside, you got the old school style. Hey, just wipe back and forth. On the driver's side, it used to be vacuum oriented, but it has been changed out with a 6-volt style electric wiper. So here is the horn. The horn would be blowing if I actually had the battery hooked up, but I don't believe that's factory. Factory it used to be up here. So that's about all. The heater box right here under the dash. Lastly, I'm going to show you guys the frame. And on these early model civilian Jeeps, the frame stamping is right here. It says 41,703. The frame is original. The engine's original. The drivetrain, just the whole thing is original, other than, you might have guessed it, the windshield frame is not original, and unfortunately the body is not an ACM body. So here's the frame. There's the driver's side step, more of the frame. The original owner coated the crap out of it in POR 15, and I think the POR 15 is starting to bubble, and I'm gonna have to probably sandblast it or wire wheel it down and really see if there's any actual issues with the frame, because I'm finding some things, and they'll be discussed next, coming up in the next video. But I really don't know how to proceed on the frame, but I think it's solid. It just doesn't look as healthy, but I think I need to get that POR 15 off there. With the Jeep, I did get a couple 3-ring binders. In these 3-ring binders is the operator's manual. It just talks about, like operations of the Jeep, obviously. I'm going to save you from that because, that's something you can find on CJ2A forums, and you can find it all over the internet. It's more generic. This is the Ramsey winch guide. It's like the old magazine article. The guy who rebuilt this Jeep prepared all this. It's extremely cool. It shows you all the options that you can option out your Jeep. just overall really neat. And then we go from the Ramsey stuff, and here's the Warren Overdrive that I have installed. It's kind of like installation, the magazine article for it, how to rebuild it. Super cool, the parts for it. Anyway, skipping ahead, this kind of goes over the L head, which is the 134 under the hood here. Kind of gives some history on it. But that's super neat. Super glad I got that. Another cool thing is he documented the restore here. Before he started, this Jeep was originally a green color. I don't know if that was the original, but that's what it was the color pre 1998 to 2001. To wrap it all up, I'm extremely happy with my purchase, and I'm finding more and more things about this CJ every single day. I really didn't know a whole lot about it when I bought it, other than that most of it was original, most of it. But like I said, I spoke with the guy that rebuilt it, and he honestly answered a lot of my questions. And I'm happy with the purchase. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And overall, I just want to keep this video relatively short. And when I say short, I know this is going to be a long one, but I honestly could talk about this thing for hours. The love for these old Jeeps is just immense when it comes to me being able to talk about it. So I'm trying to keep it as short as I can. But if you like this Jeep, let me know in the comments. If there's anything about like this Jeep that you want to know more or like to see a video on, please let me know. The Jeep I'm going to do, I've got some videos planned for it, but I don't want to leave the CJ out over there. So I'm going to switch back and do some videos to it as well. I am going to be going to Jeep Beach in April, so I hope to see some of you guys there. I'll probably be taking the 7 to Jeep Beach. The 2A, I need to do stuff to it. I don't feel like driving around all downtown Daytona in the 2A. So the 7 is going to be the one going to Jeep Beach. So, but I ramble. Like I mentioned in the previous videos, I am selling t-shirts. These t-shirts, I just thought you guys might like them. I'm not making much money off of them. It's not like I'm trying to make a killing off all this stuff. I just thought you guys might like something with the civilian Jeep stuff on it, because honestly there's not much out there. So like I always say, when it comes to Jeeps, keep it classic.